Okay, I think Mufira and is already around, right? And Mr. Benson already around.
Yes, Pak Dana.
Okay. Yeah. So in summary, we discussed about PMBOK matrix previously. Yeah? Uh, 5 process group. So in summary, we need to plan in the area of procurement, planning procurement, and this is uh, taken or this will require information from other knowledge area, including scope, schedule, and other thing, risk, and then we will conduct the procurement, whether it is separately or jointly with the project management team. Yeah, whether we will use contracting officer uh, dedicated to our project, or we will have still to work together with a different department. Yeah. Maybe engineering department will lead the project, and the procurement or supply chain department will support the procurement process. This is, of course, should be finalized within the time frame. Yeah, everything will be in accordance with early start date or latest start date of each work package. The early start and latest start date of each work package will be available in the project team, in the project schedule. So we will have to ask for this information also. And then control procurement is basically jointly done with the project team, and also procurement will also help, especially in the administration and managing the relationship with contractors. But the technical part and the project management part is, of course, is the responsibility of project manager and the team. This is if we use process group model. So there are 3 process groups, but PMBOK 7 also mentioned that procurement is also concerned with planning, project planning. This is the area of project manager, but procurement should be involved. And also during the execution, especially procurement execution, project work doesn't only mean construction work, but this can mean also supporting activities, including procurement, including manpower recruitment, including office setup, maybe warehouse setup, maybe land clearance, some other thing. But of course, procurement or supply chain team should focus on their own part. And measurement means project progress. Yeah, maybe there are issue, there are progress in the form of maybe S curve, like comparing plan versus actual. Yeah, will be reported by project team and CC to procurement also. Yeah. And if there is maybe commercial matters related to invoicing or to maybe some other deliverables that must be submitted before the finance can proceed. That means maybe project manager and procurement should also work together, to make sure the progress reported is actually in line with the actual progress in reality. Yeah, so you have to inspect and maybe do some visual inspection, some visit to the warehouse or to the project site. And also uncertainty. This is new. in the PM Box 7, yeah, the special attention to uncertainty. Yeah, some projects are prone to volatility, uncertainty, ambiguity in the global context. Yeah, in the supply chain, there are also uncertainty that you cannot control. It's in the external or outside the organization. So you have to be aware of this, and this is to do with also risk management, with having maybe alternative suppliers, alternative solution, something like that. So you have to take this into account also. In short, planning of the procurement is the process of documenting project purchasing decision. Yeah, so you have to make sure the documentation is quite good in the project, the administration, the archive, the project tracking system, the filing system, everything should be in place. Should be in place. There is a question. Let me see. Oh, okay. No. Oh, yeah. That's okay. Yeah, the management, internal management of the procurement department should be properly set up also, because sometimes project team doesn't have special skill for that, and they don't even have awareness that archives, paperwork, and evidence should be maintained. Yeah. And also the procurement approach, yeah, should be handled properly. Whether we will build the new factory ourselves, or we will maybe design separately with the contractor, or the contractor will be also delegated to or empowered to have their own design and also construct their ideas. Yeah. So designer and construction can be different, right? Designer of the factory and the construction can be different. That means there should be a bridging session to make sure the design will fulfill, the construction will fulfill the design. This is part of the approach, yeah. And some part also you have to decide on the contract type, yeah, whether you will pay on the daily basis, or you will pay on a lump sum or fixed price basis, or you will need some reimburse for all the costs incurred during particular work package, and the third party will receive some kind of fee. Yeah, so we will discuss this also, the contract type, criteria, and some procurement strategy. Yeah, the planning part also to do with potential sellers. Potential sellers in this case means contractors, yeah, suppliers, or third parties. Can also be service provider, can also be maybe a consultant or something like that. After you plan your procurement strategy, you have to make sure the project manager fully understand and fully support your plan, and also vice versa. Yeah, vice versa. You support each other, and engineers also, users also understand the risk involved along the way. Yeah, you should identify, like we also already mentioned, that we should identify in the project management methodology, risk management is part of the important process. Yeah. So we should not assume everything will be smoothly running. Yeah, maybe there will be problem along the way. Then we have to have a backup plan. We have to have a mitigation plan, and also our contractors and other third parties should also have the same attitude toward risk management. Yeah, so make sure this thing happens. And then we conduct the schedule, our plan. We conduct our plan, for example, through bidding process, vendor selection, negotiation, and contract award. Yeah. This must be done on a timely manner. Yeah, if we are lagging this part, yeah, we are slow in this part, they will not start working. Yeah, and project manager, project team will start to complain. Yeah, because although it's been selected and negotiation is already finalized, but sometimes new vendors or maybe some vendors, they need contract to be sent first. Yeah, so they will prepare their own say project charter internally, yeah, in their own company. Yeah. So they will appoint the project manager, they will start to recruit people, they will start to mobilize their heavy equipment and something like that. Controlling procurement run along the way. Yeah. This is executed along the way, hand in hand with conducting procurement and project execution. Yeah. This is done simultaneously. This will include managing procurement relationship. Yeah, you have to on regular basis monitor and manage, engage with the third parties. Also to the objective is also to make sure there is no other issues, there is no new issues, there is additional risk that you have to be aware of during project execution. Some change requests may also be another significant issues. Yeah, if there are so many changes in the project, that means maybe the motivation of contractors will be affected, or vice versa. Yeah, sometimes the change order or change request can come also from the contractor part. Yeah, so the users will not be happy. Project manager will be also worried about this, and we cannot detect this until the end of the project sometimes. So that is the purpose of managing and engaging on a regular basis. At least we have to attend our weekly or bi-weekly meeting and see the project status. Sometimes we need some contract amendment. We have to revise the contract. For example, maybe there is an extension to the project schedule if there is a delay, yeah, and the delay is approved, and maybe it's better to revise the contract. Yeah. That is part of procurement control. So we already discussed that the project team related to procurements are normally engineers and technical staff. And if, for example, in IT, there is a term called product owners. Yeah, maybe in the recent trend of IT projects, there is a product owners. So you have to communicate with them, yeah, with engineers, technical staff, business analysts, and also product owner. Yeah, they are the one who define the project scope. They know the requirements, they know the quality standard, they know when and what to buy. Yeah, so you have to make sure they are quite clear in their requirements. Yeah, sometimes we know that engineers are too busy to make a clear requirement document. Yeah, and or maybe maybe some people assume that a project will be smoothly done, but actually it's not the case. Yeah, sometimes that assumption is completely the other way around. Yeah, so we have to make sure the communication, the detail design, the engineering drawing is, and also the bill of quantity, bill of materials is clear and already approved by both parties. The factors influencing the project success is, of course, project schedule. If the schedule is tight, that means maybe our lead time, our procurement lead time cannot fulfill. Yeah, cannot fulfill the schedule. Yeah, so this shows maybe the project team doesn't have time to communicate with the supply chain, with the procurement team, or maybe they assume procurement will be just the facilitator who will proceed with whatever is needed in the project, like procurement, everything through PO or through other purchase orders, yeah, or maybe work authorization, something like that. Work authorization procedures, yeah. So schedule, you have to be aware. Scope, of course, should be detailed enough. Yeah, should be as detailed as quantity and quality expected from each suppliers. Yeah. So when it comes to WBS, work breakdown structure, maybe the WBS is like 4 to 10 level deep. Yeah. And also cost constraint. Yeah. Cost is of course, can be a constraint. Yeah. So if the vendors know that we are in a hurry, we are in the critical part, and we don't have much time, yeah, to negotiate or to find another sources. So maybe the cost will be quite high, and uh, on the other hand, our budget doesn't match with that. Yeah. So we have to really be careful with this, and also we have to have our owner estimate, as already mentioned earlier. Yeah, if we don't have an idea of how much is needed for a particular work package from engineering point of view, not from the market point of view, then we are in we are managing costs in the darkness. Yeah, in the darkness. So we have to have some ideas of the owner estimate. Quality expectation can also be of problem. Yeah. Risk should be also mitigated, identified, and agreed upon on how to mitigate, including maybe schedule overrun or cost overrun along the way. Yeah. Is already anticipated if something happen. But if we don't identify risks beforehand, that means we are working in the dark also, in the darkness. Yeah, we don't know what will happen, what might happen, and how to mitigate, how to anticipate those risks. Resources, yeah, we have to also be aware that contractors may have limited resources, may have some issues with their own management. Yeah. So we should not assume that the winners or the selected contractors are sufficient in terms of resource and time and priority and project management. Yeah. So we have to do some kind of detailed scrutiny, detailed examination, yeah, regarding third parties situation. Yeah. Sometimes they also rely too much on the cash flow coming from project owner. So if that's the case, we might have run into project delay or at least stage delay. What else do you think can be factors influencing project success? Maybe Bu Fira or Pak Marven can also human, yeah, human. Yeah, this is classic. Yeah, human internally or externally is also they call it stakeholders. Stakeholders, yeah, can be the factors influencing project success. So we have to encourage open communication and maybe upfront planning, yeah, upfront planning, and also risk management. Yeah. This is just a light example, a simple WBS. For example, we plan to have office move to another building. That means the project manager should prepare, yeah, a high-level WBS, work breakdown structure. This will reflect their understanding of the whole scope of the project, yeah, not only technical scope, but some legal scope, some administration related scope, yeah, some other maybe community scope, and others matters. Yeah. And from WBS, we will also find out there are some procurement, there are some supply chain matters that needs to be supported. Yeah, so we will have an idea of how complicated or how busy we are with the procurement. Yeah. Or whether we will also only assign a single source or multi sourcing. Yeah, we have to bear in mind that if we come up with multi vendors or multi contracts, multi work package, that means the complexity will increase. Yeah, will increase, and the communication will be the key, including scheduling, including risk management and coordination, on-site coordination. Yeah, we have to be aware, yeah, that can also affect our vendor performance, something like that. Yeah. So in general, you also have to develop, yeah, a WBS and submit this your version of WBS to project manager. Yeah, so they know that procurement is not as and supply chain is not as simple as they think. Yeah, and they will take the activities and the the sequence of activities into their project plan. Yeah, so maybe this can be later. You can prepare your own WBS for your procurement process, especially in the factory construction. Yeah, this can be limited to construction phase, to maybe tender process, or maybe you will assume that we don't need to select vendors because we already have contractors working for you, something like that. So this WBS will reflect how tricky your procurement process, and you will have to discuss with your project manager later. Also, after WBS is prepared, then you will pick some part of WBS and sequence some activities related especially to procurement and to the activities inside the supplier's part. Supplier or contractors also, they have their own bureaucracies, also have their own procedures, and also maybe they are also have to procure something from outside. Yeah, so this can be quite a complex sequence. Yeah, maybe in general we don't have problem, but maybe problem can come from little thing. Yeah, and if it's not identified and if it's not mitigated, then maybe the project will be also in trouble. Yeah, something like that. So this is the idea of having WBS. Yeah, maybe a project manager will ask you to prepare, or if they don't ask you, that means they will assume that everything will be okay, or they will assume they already understand the situation. But the idea is to have written, have it written so you can control along the way. You can also report to senior management regarding the status of each activity. And those with red colors are meant to be the critical path. They call it project management, call it critical path. That means activities and items along the critical path have zero tolerance, regarding schedule, especially because we are talking about schedule here. So if the procurement activities is happen to be in the red boxes, that means you have no time flexibility, and that means we have to really discuss this with our project team, our project manager. Is that the right thing? I mean, is that really the matter, or actually there is a flexibility? Otherwise, procurement will be, of course, the one to, let's say, not to let's say to blame for project delay. So we have to be careful with this because the critical part will show the final date of the project, and if there is a delay in the critical part, the project will also be delayed. And also we have to discuss whether delay is acceptable, and if acceptable, how long. Maybe 1 month delay is okay, 2 months delay is okay. But we also have to discuss with our contractors, our suppliers, our system provider, solution provider, whether they can deliver within the acceptable time frame. That's the thing. So normally project manager have this kind of information. Maybe they use scheduling software. They should be familiar with this. Contractor should be familiar, the PMO and also MK, the management construction. They know, for example, early start and early finish of each work package. They will put it in their spreadsheet, for example, or in their other software. Late start and late finish, they know. And if procurement activity, supply chain activity happens to be on a particular work package, then we know how much uh, how much we can tolerate, how much delay, how many days of delay that we can tolerate. And we have to inform the contractor and the vendors for that matters. Maybe in the future, in the near future, you will also have to prepare a critical path diagram for your procurement process and contribute to project plan overall. WBS, critical path. Your project manager will be very happy if you can explain beforehand this thing. And maybe together you can anticipate. You can shorten the schedule, or you can anticipate how to overcome the lengthy lead time of the supply chain process. Maybe by negotiating on the overall project schedule and revising the project charter uh, is a good practice also beforehand. So during initiation and planning, you can talk about this. But when execution is almost done, of course, this is not a good practice, because management doesn't like surprise. So you have to escalate this information as soon as possible. You have to discuss how to overcome this problem. So when the project team come to you and ask for your support, of course, we will ask who, what, when, why, where, who needs, for example, who needs procurement support, in particular, which work package, maybe in your situation, which department, which department that needs procurement support, who is the user, and you know them by name, you know them by face, and you have to talk with them also. You have to discuss with them. And what are the products to be procured, services. There are opportunities for you, because sometimes in the procurement there are also engineers, right? There are procurement team, sometimes are also engineers. They understand also, like Bu Fira just mentioned, the team is more with construction project. So you can discuss about the alternative. You can discuss about the alternative solution, if the product service actually are already available around the company. So maybe you can discuss with the requester of the particular services. And then we can analyze where is the origin, of the supplier, the materials, of the goods to be supplied. Maybe it's taken from outside the country, or maybe you have to manufacture, you have to first design the solution, something like that. It will take more time. When do they need those items? When is reflected in the project originally, but maybe you have to be aware that lead time, you have to discuss the lead time, beforehand, by showing the critical path, by showing the WBS maybe in the supply chain part, and also the why thing, the make or buy maybe is not of your concern, but maybe business people will ask, why do we have to purchase? Why do we have to procure from outside? For example, management construction, you can do it yourself, actually, or maybe designing your new factory, you can do it yourself, right? Why do we have to hire another team, to conduct design, for example? Maybe you know the thing, that needs to be procured. Okay, let's continue. So activities along the process group. Process group in this case means the five process groups, mentioned in PMBOK. So make sure we will keep talking about this, because this is the generic process. But so make sure project charter is there, and make or buy analysis is there also. For each package. Stakeholder identification is already there also. You identify stakeholders along surrounding your projects, surrounding the procurement process. And after project charter is issued, project plan should be more detailed. All knowledge area should be prepared by the project team, including sourcing strategy, procurement plan, and supply chain management. So this part may involve supply chain team, project manager and his or her team may invite you to submit, not only list of vendors, not only maybe some information about potential contractors, but ideally you tell them the process along the supply chain for each particular work package, for each particular materials, because they are different. Maybe they have different constraint, different process, and different requirement. During execution, you make sure bidding is done. Bidding is better if you want to have optimal decision, regarding your potential contractor, rather than choosing directly one contractor, one company. Maybe you have several, for example, 5 or 6 companies. Then you invite all them and explain your requirement, and then you tell them that this is a bidding process. So that doesn't guarantee someone will win, someone will get the project, but we will evaluate. We will make decision, and we will also sometimes negotiate on the price, but of course don't waste too much time on negotiation, because you are running out of time, right? So you have to be realistic in this case, and don't forget to award the contract. Contract should be prepared beforehand, should be consulted with all the stakeholders, management, business manager, project manager, finance, anyone involved in the preparation of contract. Yeah, maybe legal also. Yeah, you can start with using standard template, but doesn't mean standard template is good. You have to consider and take into account risk management in the contract and your project particular requirements. Yeah. Other project management process is also conducted in the project execution with along with project manager. But contract administration is of course important. Yeah, so don't miss any single thing in this process. Contract admin. Sometimes we need, for example, minutes of meeting. We need maybe attendance list, even some pictures, yeah, some photos, some attachments. We better have everything, yeah, in the contract or project administration overall. Quality control report, yeah, of course, this is very important. Maybe you use some quality tools, quality methodology, yeah. So you have to also accessible to this quality control process. Yeah, you have to be authorized also to check the result, because you will later on have to again meet the contractors, yeah, for this project or maybe in the future. Change control, yeah, change control is also important. You have to have separate document for change, maybe in the form of log document, yeah. So you know who request for change, when, and what is the impact of the change to the procurement, to the project schedule, to the budget. Yeah. Yeah. So and then what is the status of the change? Yeah. If the change is rejected, change request is rejected, then of course you especially those related with procurement, then you also be aware. You also are quite aware, yeah, with this. If it's approved, then maybe you have to proceed with contract revision. Yeah, contract revision is quite important also, and it's quite common also. Yeah, of course, the evidence is minutes of meeting, the maybe analysis report, yeah, and the justification for approving particular change. If it's then go beyond the project schedule or project budget, then you have to start revising, yeah, the contract or the maybe project charter and even project plan. Even project plan you have to revise, yeah. So it's like PDCA cycle, yeah. Plan, do, check, act cycle. Yeah, it's really related with this process group. Yeah, it's a cycle. It's an iterative cycle. So you may have to produce a procurement management plan. Yeah, a procurement management plan, maybe 10 pages, for example, including make or buy analysis for particular item and procurement strategy for the project overall, and also some TOR for each work package. Yeah, this is normally done. Yeah, this is common actually. Yeah, what is uncommon, if we don't have the TOR, if we don't have the statement of work, that means it is uncommon. It is risky. Although preparing TOR is not an easy job, yeah, but it's better to work hard, yeah, in the beginning, and then you can quite easily control the project later. This also guarantee, in theory at least, a win-win solution. Yeah, win-win solution. So we have to bear in mind that contract is to protect relationship of both parties. Yeah, the both parties, buyer and seller, should have a good relationship and should work together for project success. And it is all protected in the contract. Yeah, so the contract starts from good procurement statement of work or TOR, and the attachment can be detailed engineering design, as plan drawing, as build drawing, everything drawing regarding construction, bill of material, and so on and so forth. Yeah, for each work package. And then contract type, normally we use lump sum contract. We use fixed price contract, but be careful if we opt for lump sum contract or fixed price, that means the scope should be clear. Yeah, because we want win-win solution, right? Not win-lose. And we don't want a dispute also. Yeah. And then tender document is another thing. Yeah, maybe a statement of work is just part of tender document, especially in the government. Yeah, government, they need maybe administration checklist for the company that will participate, administration requirement. For example, must be a company, must be PT, not CV, not personal company. Yeah. For example, the company should be national level. Yeah. Not not daerah level, not regional level. Yeah. So there is a separate document, maybe prepared by, not by engineer, maybe but by supply chain or consultation with business manager. Yeah. And also technical document can be reflected in the form of term of reference. This is the least requirement, not the maximum requirement. So maximum, of course, you have detail requirement, more detail requirement. And also criteria. Yeah, you have to develop criteria to prevent subjective decision. Yeah, this can be a problem in the future if you choose the wrong contractor. Yeah, for example, there is a maybe contractor with no experience in the safety standard. Yeah, maybe K3, you know K3, right? The health and safety standard. In Indonesia, contractor should have a K3 certification and also some other certification. Yeah. But if you maybe we choose some company that have no K3 certification, K3 certification, then we might be in trouble if there is an accident in the project, right? So selection criteria is also important internally to make sure there is no conflict of interest, to make sure everybody in the management, especially in the decision-making team, is on the same idea regarding who should be the winner of the tender. Yeah. We will discuss this also a little bit more later. Regarding make or buy, of course, there are some consideration. In the project, we may buy everything from outside, or we may combine. Some part we already have, some part we will develop ourselves, and some part we will outsource. Yeah. Of course, the main reason to buy is to decrease risk, yeah, to decrease risk. And we sometimes decide to make our own. If you have our idle plan or idle workforce, we have some technician in the company. Yeah, we have to optimize. We have to work with them, right? Rather than outsourcing some particular work package. Sometimes we have to retain control also. Yeah, we have some our own proprietary solution. We have some machine, some technology that we want to keep it confidential. Yeah, that means if we hire from outside, that may be leaking. Yeah, the information. Yeah, although we already have a non-disclosure agreement in place, but this thing may happen. Sometimes in the make or buy, we have to also calculate, yeah, whether a better solution if we say buy heavy equipment, for example, or expensive server, expensive solution, or it's better to rent if it's available in the market. Then we say if we buy, we have to pay 105,000 US dollar. We have to pay 100. We have to invest, yeah, 105,000 US dollar to buy an excavator. But if we rent, then we just have to pay 5,000 per month. Yeah, so maybe the management will ask how long we will rent the excavator. Yeah. If it's less than certain amount, certain duration, then it's better to maybe to rent, yeah, rather than to buy. Yeah. So we just divide 105,000 divide by 5,000. So the result is 20 months. So if we will use the excavator for quite a long time, maybe it's ideal to buy. Yeah, because we can then have an asset and we can also make use of the asset for other projects in the future. But if it's less than 20 months, it's better to to rent. Yeah. Also, if a machine costs on daily basis, for example, 100 US dollar per day, whereas when we lease or rent the company, rent the machine, we just have to pay 400 per day. Yeah. Then in how many days is the lease price equal the purchase price? Yeah. So we have to calculate this thing also. Yeah. In general, that is to do with make or buy analysis. Maybe you are familiar also with this. And also regarding contract type, yeah, bear in mind that there is a certain amount of risk that either buyer or seller have to undergo. Yeah, if we choose, for example, fixed price, FP in this case stand for fixed price, FP fixed price. That means buyer or customer or project owner will bear lower risk. Yeah, so the project owner will perceive lower risk if we use fixed price contract, because no matter how frequent the change in the project or the situation in the project may be quite uncertain, the price fluctuates, and the scope is also changing. Yeah. In other words, the project suffers scope creep situation. Scope creep syndrome, right? But the buyer is already signed the contract with a fixed amount of money that will be paid to the buyer, yeah, no matter how dynamic the environment, yeah, how frequent the changes, yeah, or how poor the scope definition is, yeah. So as long as the buyer accept, sorry, I mean, as long as the seller accept the contract, that means the buyer is quite safe. But we have to also understand that the seller bears quite big amount of risk in this case. Yeah. So of course, if we stick to the win-win principle, we have to make sure the scope is quite stable and everything that is to be changed in the future will be, to some extent, will be the responsibility of the seller. But if it's exceeds certain amount of change, of course, a seller can issue a claim, yeah, can issue a claim uh, for the cost that they have to cover due to frequent changes in the project site. Yeah. This is also, I think it's 50-50 practice. Yeah. Some companies with that have already experience in some project, in big projects, they allow for sellers to claim, yeah, for additional costs during the project. Of course, with evidence and with proper analysis. But normally some projects, some companies, they don't put a claim clausule in the contract. So this is not cannot be done actually by seller unless through negotiation, unless through communication, yeah, with the company. So fixed price we already discussed, and time and material also, maybe if it's for short or for small work package, and if the scope is not clear, maybe for just for a simple service, yeah, like training, like consulting, like maybe asking for revision, document revision or something like that. Maybe some IT job also with the target that we have a specified time target. Maybe in 2 weeks' time, the task should be finished. Then time and material is quite common also. Yeah. So we have to know the man days rate or man-month rate. Yeah. And then another alternative is cost reimburse. Cost reimburse is also an option for us if the scope is not defined clearly yet. Yeah, the project scope or the particular work package cannot be defined clearly. For example, maybe in the interior, yeah, office interior, meeting room interior, or lobby interior in the factory. Yeah, so maybe rather than having to design exactly, yeah, we are asking for exact design of the maybe meeting room, which is sometimes impossible. So we can come up with the cost reimburse. Yeah. So any cost that is incurred during the interior design or the fitting out of the meeting room, as long as it is agreed, then the company will reimburse the cost. Yeah. And the contractor will receive professional fee on daily basis or on a fixed duration basis. something like that. So contract type is quite tricky in if we want to use different contract type. So if you have any concern, any question, please don't worry to discuss. We discussed on this before. So contract type is related to project risk. That's why the normal practice is to use a firm fixed price, or also known as lump sum contract. And the prerequisite for this, or the ideal situation for fixed price, is to have a clear scope and clear design, clear bill of quantity, clear everything, a clear requirement. And also, if possible, there is a claim procedures in place. If there is a change that it should be borne by the seller, and that can be discussed through the claim procedures. Like I said, actually, the contract type is influenced by how well defined the statement of work or the project scope is. What is the frequency of changes that we expect to happen in the future? Sometimes we have no idea. We have like a blank idea, whether the scope is already finalized or there might be changes, maybe regarding some technology or some equipment, So if the frequency of changes are quite high, then maybe we have to anticipate this, We have to allocate some room for negotiation. And also, if you don't have or you feel it's hard to manage, a contractor. Contractor sometimes, to be honest, they are more they are maybe quite close to maybe the project owner, and maybe they can take advantage of this. Maybe they are quite not open, in their management, for example. So we will have difficulties, maybe or their progress is not good, but they say it's good, for example, So that means we work hard, to manage the contractor, This is common also, This is common because they feel they know better, and the owner, they know, is busy with other thing, so they delegate, they through contract they feel they already empowered, to construct a factory, but maybe along the way they also have problems internally, and at the end of the day the project is in trouble, and that means the owner can also be in trouble. We can also refer to the industry standard. Maybe in the say, like I said, in the construction phase, lump sum contract is common, but in the design phase, in the some part of the work package, maybe interior design or the final phase of the project, maybe we can leave it to interior design, or maybe fitting out company, to use maybe cost reimburse or time and material. Yeah. This is up to the situation. You can consult with those who are more experienced in the factory construction. Yeah. Also, you can divide, you can separate some work package, yeah, into different project. Yeah, maybe the basic construction will have different project, and then the final part will be done by different team also. So in other words, there are several category like time and material, yeah. Contract TM, they call it, where the seller is paid for the amount of time it takes to accomplish the work. Yeah, so if it takes 3 days, that means the seller is only paid 3 days. Yeah, and if there are materials involved, it will be reimbursed. It will be repaid. Yeah, and the alternative for time and material, the common one is firm fixed price or lump sum contract. Cost reimburse is also an option for you. And if sometimes the project is multi-years project where the cost is and the scope is maybe subject to negotiation, unit price can be an option, yeah, for each particular item that will be used by the project. So you can have a predetermined unit cost for a particular items, and the volume of the or the quantity, the number of quantities are subject to design or project dynamic. Sometimes also you can use a weighting system, yeah, in the tender, in the bidding process, like we already discussed. You should have criteria, yeah, for selecting the contractor. That means you use weighting system. Yeah, it's also called a weighting system, yeah, in which different category will have different weight depending on your preference. Yeah, for example, if price is important, that means the price category will be having a higher percentage, higher weights. Sometimes we don't have to use weighting system. We can use screening system, yeah. For small item, for small work package, we can also have a screening system. For example, if the uh, uh, company or the third party uh, that we need should be local company, for example. So if it's not local company, maybe we don't have to invite them, yeah. Or we can use a personal consultant, for example. Then we can use a personal consultant. But if the policy mentioned that we cannot use personal company, personal consultant, then of course we should not evaluate them in the first place. Yeah, this is screening. Screening can be quicker, yeah, can be faster when you have to deal with some task in a timely manner. Yeah, so screening is a good idea also sometimes. But of course, there are pros and cons. Yeah, in general, of course, this can be perceived as a bias also. But of course, if it's only involve a little amount of money, or maybe can be done in less than a week or 2 weeks, maybe screening system is better. Yeah? But in general, if it's to do with longer time frame and higher project budget, then maybe weighting system is of course better, yeah, much better and more accountable. A project manager, a project team can, like we already discussed, yeah, should have a yardstick, yeah, a yardstick or like a baseline, yeah, for their own independent estimate or owner estimate, yeah. Of course, it's not an easy way to have there is no easy way to have a owner estimate. You have to have precise engineering estimate, engineering scope, detail scope, ya kan? And then you also have to do some research, ya, regarding available solution, available materials, and the latest price in the market. Yeah. Maybe you can use like for IT, you can use, for example, bineka.com to know whether your price estimate is in accordance with the market price. Yeah, or otherwise you can do some research through Inkindo, for example, Indonesian Association for Construction, yeah, or through Bapenas, yeah, Bapenas rate and something like that. Yeah, independent estimate will reflect exact requirement, yeah, resources, the quantitatively and also uh, qualitatively, and also schedules. Yeah. When you develop a criteria, also you should consider some other factors, such as whether the particular contractor understand our needs. Yeah, maybe through term of reference, through some bidders meeting or some initial meeting, they will then come up with proposal, and they will maybe be invited to present their solution. Then we can figure out whether they understand our needs or not. And also other criteria is concerned with overall life cycle of the solution. Yeah? For example, factory that use maybe particular paint or particular weatherproof or waterproofing solution maybe is better, it's more cheaper in the long run, for example. Although maybe the buying cost in the initial offering seems to be more expensive. Yeah, so you have to consider life cycle costing or long-term cost, whether it is buying costs, maintenance costs, operational costs, and of course the disposal of the particular solution. Yeah. Technical capability, you can see from maybe their technology, their experience, their solution, their approach, management approach. You have to be careful also. Yeah. Nowadays, sometimes they can supply good engineers, like good solution, but maybe their internal management, yeah, we have to also try to figure out, maybe through testimony, through evidence, yeah, through benchmarking, technical approach, financial capacity. Like I said, this can be tricky part also. nowadays construction projects, maybe they cannot give a promising profit, right? So it's really tight budget, tight profit. So they have to have a strong financial backup. Yeah, some company use guarantee, like bidding bonds, like bid bond or performance bond, yeah, to mitigate if there is a problem with the construction company. Yeah. So it's quite hard to understand the internal financial capacity of our third party vendors. Also, production capacity, we have to check whether they can supply certain amount of materials in a timely manner. Business type preferences sometimes can be useful, yeah, although it's not a guarantee for project success, can be useful. And also property rights, maybe if it's to do with technology, with system, yeah. Nowadays, you have to be careful with property and proprietary rights. And again, whether or not our design is already confirmed, and whether we are ready for contract revision, yeah, in the project execution, during project execution. Are we okay with contract update, or it is gonna take lengthy procedures for contract update? So we have to be really aware of this. This is an example of evaluation criteria. Yeah, maybe after this we will have a break maybe after this. Or if you have any other questions, you can also ask. So in this example, we see that there are only two major criteria. Yeah, price and quality. Yeah, price is weighted 30%, which is perceived as less important than quality. Yeah. But normally we put price in quite higher weighting, and price can be also categorized as a commercial category, and it can be in the price competitiveness category. Yeah, jadi so we don't break down price into more detail, but quality we break down into technical, past performance, methodology, management system, and social value. This accumulated into 70%, and we can see that in this case methodology is considered less important. Yeah, methodology in this case is broken down into program of works and innovation. It's less important because it is given 10% weight. But technical aspect like capability and resources for the project is considered important in this case. Yeah. Yeah. So overall, we will then evaluate, yeah, the company into or some potential vendors, maybe some potential contractors. Maybe then we can evaluate whether the price is high or low, whether the quality in many sectors is like good or bad, or we can put some scoring also, yeah. And the final score we will then calculate. Then we will submit our final evaluation, yeah, into the management, yeah, for them to make up their mind to decide which contractors will be the winner. Yeah, so maybe we will have a break, right, Mufira? We will have break, or if you have any idea or questions, please, yeah, don't hesitate. Maybe we can answer later or now. Yeah, it's up to you.
Yes, Pak Dana. So we're having break on 11:45 until 1:15, yeah? We will
1:15,
start
1:15.
1:15 again.
Yeah, I will also do Friday pray,
Oh, iya.
but it's not far, yeah. So we will meet again at 1:15, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay then. Thank you. See you later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Dana.
Yeah. See you.